Hey friends, have you ever found yourself nodding along to something you didn't really want to do only to feel resentful and exhausted afterwards? I mean, maybe it was an extra project at work or an event you weren't excited about, or simply taking on a favor that stretched you too thin. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many of us fall into the trap of people pleasing. I'm sure you've heard that term before. Saying yes when you really mean no. But here's something to think about. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your priorities, you're saying no to something that does. What would happen if you started protecting your energy and reclaiming your time by learning the power of the word no? Let's talk about how saying no isn't just a boundary, it's a game changer for your mental health, your productivity, and your overall well being. You know, saying no is an act of self respect, not selfishness. Science tells us that our brains are wired for social connection, and as social creatures, we often prioritize belonging and harmony, which is why many of us develop the habit of people pleasing. Now, according to research in social psychology, people pleasing behaviors often stem from our need for approval and our fear of rejection. However, when this need becomes excessive, it can lead to chronic stress and burnout. And this is where the concept of boundaries becomes essential, not just for maintaining relationships, but for preserving our mental health. Now, when we continuously say yes to others at the expense of our own needs, it creates what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort experienced when our actions don't align with our values. In the long term, this can lead to feelings of resentment, anxiety, and even depression. In fact, studies have shown that people who have difficulty setting boundaries are more likely to experience high levels of stress and lower overall life satisfaction. Now, in contrast, learning to say no can significantly improve your emotional and mental well being. When we set boundaries, we signal to ourselves and others that our time and energy are valuable. According to research by Dr. Brené Brown, a leading expert on vulnerability and shame, people who set and maintain boundaries tend to be more compassionate towards others and themselves. Brown's studies suggest that boundaries aren't about pushing people away, but about ensuring that we can engage in healthy relationships without losing ourselves in the process. The brain's reward system also plays a role here. We are constantly people pleasing, and then we activate the brain's reward centers by receiving external validation. However, this reward is fleeting, and we often find ourselves feeling empty or even resentful afterwards, don't we? But you know what? Neuroscientists have found that when we prioritize intrinsic rewards, like fulfilling our own goals or aligning with our true values, we experience more lasting feelings of satisfaction and well-being. So in other words, saying no to external demands can help you focus on internal fulfillment, which is far more rewarding in the long run. Now, don't get me wrong. I completely understand that saying no isn't always easy, especially if you're used to being a people pleaser. But, there's underlying fear, and I get these questions in my mind sometimes too. What if they don't like me anymore? Or what if I hurt somebody's feelings? Because I'm a carer. I care about people. But you know what? Flip the narrative. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying no to your own growth and well-being. And here's an important point. The people who truly respect you will understand and respect your no. Saying no doesn't make you mean. It makes you authentic. And practical strategies can make this shift easier as well. You can start by being mindful of your reactions. Pay attention to your body. Does your heart race or do your palms sweat when you're about to say yes to something you don't want to do? These physical cues are signs from your body's stress response system, indicating that you're about to make a decision that conflicts with your well-being. So instead of reacting automatically, pause. Give yourself permission to take a moment to reflect. You might say to the other person, "Let me think about that and get back to you." This will give yourself time to make a decision that aligns with your needs. This not only relieves immediate pressure, but also helps you build the habit of thoughtful decision making. Yeah, sounds nice, doesn't it? Next, practice framing your no in a way that is firm but kind. You don't need to offer long explanations or apologies. Over-explaining often weakens your boundary. A simple, "I can't commit to that right now, but thank you for asking," is clear and respectful. This not only protects your energy, but also trains others to respect your time and boundaries. And over time, this leads to healthier, more balanced relationships. Now, research by assertiveness experts such as Dr. Randy Patterson also highlights that people who set healthy boundaries experience a sense of empowerment and autonomy, which directly impacts their self-esteem. So, when we take control of our decisions, saying no when necessary, we reinforce the message to ourselves that we are capable of directing our own lives. This leads to a cycle of increasing confidence and emotional resilience. So, let me ask you this. What could your life look like if you started saying no to the things that drain you and yes to the things that fill you up? And how much more energy, joy, and fulfillment would you have if you set boundaries that honored your time and priorities? Saying no is more than just a word. It's a declaration that you are in control of your own life, that your time, your energy, and your mental health are worth protecting. The next time you're faced with a request that doesn't sit right with you, take a moment to reflect. There's no need to rush. You have the right to say no, and in doing so, you're not rejecting someone else. You're reaffirming yourself. And, as you walk away today, I want to challenge you to think about what in your life you've been saying yes to out of habit, fear, or rejection. What small step can you take today to reclaim your power by saying no? Because in the end, learning to say no is about much more than setting boundaries. It's about setting yourself free. Now, what will you say no to today so you can start saying yes to the life you truly deserve? Friends, if anybody's worth a no, I tell you what you are, and I know how that sounds, but take care of yourself, believe in yourself, and just do the best you can to be the best you can possibly be. Because you know what? You are worth it. And I sit here and think about this conversation we just had, and there's quite a few areas in my life where I could learn to say no a little bit more, but like you, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I care about others, and sometimes I tend to overgive that caring and just do everything in my wheelhouse to make everybody happy. If you can relate, then maybe some of the advice that I gave you today could help make a difference in how you approach things moving forward. Because you know what? I care about you. I believe in you. And if there's anybody I want to see do well, it's you. So learn the power of no. Ask yourself now, where in your life can you start saying no so that you can begin saying yes to you? Because if anybody deserves it, you do. I'll be back tomorrow with some more good stuff. I hope you have a beautiful day. Talk to you then.